How you doing, Layla?
Good.
Good. Do you want me to come play with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna love this.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Twirl.
Where was that twirl all afternoon?
Mr. Peters, how would you like an alternative sentence?
It's kind of like a job. You'll be observing and recording your observations.
So, where is it?
It's coming.
Fuck, no, this can't be. What's the point of this, huh? Torture? Oh, no one has come in for you. No one. What the fuck are you looking at? I was in my room last night.
There's a new psychological horror thriller building in buzz as it rolls out through Monster Fest here in Australia. It's called Subject. It's the latest nerve rattler by Australian director Tristan Barr, who joins us here on screen watching today. How are you, mate? And congratulations on this film.
Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Yeah, it's good to finally get it out in the world. It was an anxious kind of first screening in Monster Fest in Melbourne, but I was very overwhelmed with the response. So very good news all around, I think, for everyone.
Well, I was going to say, it kind of rocked everyone's world down in Melbourne, and it's about to shock audiences in Sydney and Brisbane and Adelaide and Perth. Give the audience the log line. Give us some idea of what the latest film Subject is about.
Sure. So it's about a guy who gets intercepted by an American secret agency on his way to prison, and he has to basically go through a series of experiments and monitor a subject in the other room. And that subject, as you have kind of seen, grows to kind of evolve and haunt the prisoner.
And everyone else who sees it. I assure audiences this is one of the great, if nothing else, it's a great new monster character in movies. We'll get to that in a minute. What compelling themes and potential for drama did you recognise when you first read Vincent Beffy's script? What inspired you about wanting to tell this story?
So I think initially when you kind of, and as you see the film, there's a great kind of unique perspective on like an MK Ultra sort of secretive agency style thing where you don't really know what's going on and who's leading these decisions. And so that to me was very exciting because obviously it allowed us to do a surveillance footage style thing. So we've got a very like cool MS-DOS Windows 95 sort of style to the film, which was a lot of fun. And apart from that, we the elements that kind of come throughout the story, delve into some pretty like really dark places. And we shot a lot more footage that, as you can imagine, than what's ended up in the film,
Sure.
because we had 12 cameras basically shooting
wow.
at any one time. So there was a lot of improvisation from the main guy, the main actor, Stephen Phillips, and we went to some pretty like crazy extreme places. But with what we got, part of the process was about teasing out who, how much information the audience needs to know and how much they need to kind of like put to the pieces together. So and that's to me has been like the greatest response. And we're actually we've got a few people doing like explainer videos and stuff with their
Oh,
theories to the film, which is really cool. That is kind of what we had imagined, or hoped for through it. Yeah.
You put your leading man Stephen Phillips through many types of hell in this film. Not only the physical horrors he has to endure, but there's a lot of emotional anguish in the flashback sequences. His addictive problems. Building a relationship between director and leading man in filming those sort of scenes, especially within the construct of a genre film. What was the dynamic like for you and he on set?
Yes, so part of the casting was I knew I needed someone who was willing to go, the whole way with me, and so he pretty much lived in the space for the 10 days that we did shooting. We were shooting crazy hours, and I mean he was there and just immersed in this kind of facility like space. And I'd worked with Steve before and quite a lot of theatre, and I mean he's done a lot of great Australian TV and films, and so I knew that if he was going to read the script and jump into it, that he would just go for it. And a lot of what you see in the film actually is, him. Like the best moments come from him just existing in the space, and we just did like extended long takes with the 12 cameras rolling of just circumstances, and he would allow himself to build to emotional places, for hours, and you kind of get glimpses of that, along the journey of the film.
And it's been a few years since I saw Watch the Sunset, which I think I remember seeing it at SUF at the Underground Festival here in Sydney, probably all those years ago. Is it fair to say there's almost a straight line between Willem and the journey you undertook as Danny in Watch the Sunset? And I'm thinking back now, and there's family elements, there's that redemption element, the fallen men sort of looking to escape their past. Are there similarities there that you can recognize?
Yeah, there are. I think it's funny you say that. But, I think I'm drawn to that type of story, and I think it just so Watch the Sunset was actually based on my older half brother and some of the experiences he's gone through in and out of bikie gangs and the kind of turmoil. So there's a few things that were kind of close to me with that story. But I suppose, subject was our take on something that was more a broad horror genre kind of thing. So it does, I mean, when I direct, I definitely am drawn to the deeper emotional elements, like those kind of things that, I mean, every guy kind of goes through. This character is as far darker than anything I've ever dealt with before. So it was, but it was great because, I mean, Steve, and I hope he won't mind me saying this, but he also had experience, through some of his close network, people who have been through some pretty traumatic experiences. And so it was very meaningful to him, the performance and I suppose bringing an element of truth to the performance of this, which I couldn't have done the film without him, without his commitment. He was there, in a Melbourne warehouse, just absolutely freezing his butt off, and just going through a whirlwind. I actually remember towards the end of the shoot, we all started having these like vivid nightmares. And he started to, like, he was so agitated. He got this kind of anxious twitch that you actually see in the film quite a lot. It's really a crazy experience. I actually had to say to him at the screening, like, I hope you it didn't stay with you for too long, and he was able to kind of debrief a few months later and get it out of it. Yeah.
He does give an amazing performance. I can absolutely imagine nightmares arising from some of the stuff you put him through. You love playing with, and you mentioned that the 12 camera setup and the CCTV footage you use, and even the different color grading and different scenes and stuff like that I noticed in the subject, and Watch the Sunset was almost entirely the other way. The whole single shot sort of storytelling style you used is pushing the technology as much as pushing your actors and pushing the story part of the fun for you. Are you a techie nerdy kind of guy that can make that sort of stuff work?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm actually like, I do a lot of my own stuff, but basically all of this stuff was very new. We were actually trying to get more into the VR space, and we were thinking maybe this is a VR piece when we first started. But VR didn't really take off. So then we kind of used these like robotic cameras that were on gimbals, and that was done by a company called Visitor Vision, who deal with robotic cameras. The cool thing that I really liked about it is that, and was important to me, is that we had to have the tech working like on set, so that, you know, when you're seeing the live feed of him in the screens, it's not like done later. So there's actually like a real delay that's happening, you know, on screen, and it's all very realistic. So that, I mean, that to me is really cool when I watch the film back now, is that it has all these really unique sort of like technical glitches and, you know, weird sort of, I suppose, again, like MS-DOS secretive agency style little flourishes to it, which is fun. Yeah.
The use of the black and white monitor works in one of the film's most memorable scenes, an early reveal of the subject, or the other subject, when the nails come out from under the bed. And I'm not giving too much away there, but that was when I sat up on the couch and go, all right, we're right in sort of nightmare territory here. This was freaky stuff. Tell us about Joey Lai as the character and the creature design work you put into the subject that shares the room with Willem.
Yeah, so Joey again was such a trooper. He had to go through about 4 hours of prosthetic makeup every day, and you know, early Melbourne mornings in the winter is not fun. And so he basically he had to get his whole body done. But it's funny because we only had a certain amount of budget, so we were only doing what was going to be shown on camera. We basically evolved the whole idea with subject, or the monster, was that it was an evolution of a monster. And so as you kind of are introduced to this like really almost like a flesh mold of a human. Yeah. And then it evolves into this kind of like dramatic creature feature. And so it was just about how we aged those, and the character design also had to work into some pretty like disgusting things that the creature does throughout the film. So there's one scene where we knew we wanted the monster's tongue or something working with the monster to infest our kind of lead actor.
Yeah.
And so the design took on this really unique thing where there was lots of there was kind of almost a beauty to it. And for me, I was like really inspired like by kind of like David Lynch's sort of weird monsters and unique sort of characters. That to me was what it was, because it, you know, unlike a kind of horror features that we see a lot, which is, you know, just something that is a unique monster that's scary. We wanted to keep it very practical because he's in the films just so much.
Yeah.
He's always standing there. He's always kind of watching, and so we wanted to be like, you know, as minimal CGI as possible.
It's interesting, excuse me, it's interesting you say Lynch was an inspiration, because I certainly picked up on that. I would say there's elements of some of Del Toro's work in the creature design. It reminded me a little bit of the great Tim Robbins film, Jacob's Ladder, too, in many regards, which is an absolute favorite of mine. So am I in the ballpark? Are there stories, or are there other films or artwork that influenced the look of the film?
Yeah, Jacob's Ladder was one that was well picked up, and Old Boy was a real
Oh wow,
it was a real inspiration for us. So, you know, the sequence where he's trapped in the room for, I think it's 15 years or something, and he's fed only dumplings. He's fed like 4 dumplings a day. Well, yeah. I mean, in our script, you know, Willem's only fed 1 egg every day, and so like that real kind of weird specificity for us was like really fun. And there's a lot of those sort of elements, and I think Koreans do that really well in their cinema. They have like these weird, unique little things that they kind of put in, and so I should mention our producer Dave Gim, who's Korean Aussie, and so when we kind of took this script on, you know, we wanted to kind of design the world as if it was like a unique, you know, Old Boy style thing. So he did a lot of the design with the production designer Daniel Kim, and they created 3 adjacent rooms, and yeah, a lot of that inspiration was Old Boy.
Wow, mate, you've made such a cool, terrifying, but like really captivating film as well. I was determined to see, as horrific as the story got, and as challenged as I was by what my eyes were taking in, I was totally caught up in Willem's journey and exactly what was going to happen with the character. So that sort of duality makes for the best kind of scary movie. So you've certainly done that, Tristan, and thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for checking it out. Yeah,
all right, buddy. Have a great time with the rollout of the film, and look forward to see what you're doing next. All the best.
Appreciate it, mate. Have a good one.